really don't like to acknowledge that on the left. And that's when Al Green got up there and started harassing Trump. This was debated, interestingly, the other day when Stephen A. Smith went on The View. And Joy Behar, she too pushed back. And even on this morning's The Daily, Maggie Haberman was pushing back on just how historic the victory. They really don't want to say historic. They don't want to say mandate. They don't want to say any of the things that Trump says. And
It started like a regular episode of The View. The hosts were smiling, sipping coffee, sharing their usual opinions. Everyone agreeing like always. But then he walked in. No fake smile, no rehearsed lines, just pure confidence. And as soon as he sat down, the whole vibe changed. You could feel the tension. The audience got quiet. The hosts looked at each other, wondering, is this about to go wrong? They looked nervous, sitting up straighter, holding their mugs tighter. This wasn't going to be a friendly chat. It was about to get real. He didn't bother with small talk or thank yous. He jumped straight in, no sugarcoating. It felt like he came ready for a fight. Most guests try to be polite and careful with their words. Not him. He was honest, direct, and didn't hold back. The big topic? Trump's surprising comeback win. But what really shocked everyone was how he said it. No spin, no excuses. He called it what it was, a big rejection of the political elite, a message for millions of people who were tired of being ignored. When the host tried to push back, he stayed calm. He didn't raise his voice or lose control. He simply broke down their arguments, one by one, like a pro knocking over dominoes. It was sharp, cool, and totally in control.
All those women on the panel were by literally sitting next to a black man that's not just going to nod on like a bobblehead and go along with all their Democrat talking points. So look, the Democrats have a black male problem, right? Everybody knows that. And Stephen A. Smith has been very savvy and kind of like coming from the sports commentator world. He's extremely successful and then kind of putting himself into the space where I'm going to say, I am not for Trump, but I am going to sit here and I'm going to tell you the truth about everything that is going on right now. It's very savvy because, and this is where I'll throw the black card down on the table. If you are a black man, Democrats have absolutely nothing.
This wasn't just another guest sitting nicely and playing along. He came to shake things up. He broke through the safe little bubble that most TV shows stay in. And with every word, the pressure rose. The more he spoke, the more uncomfortable the hosts looked. Then, boom, he said something no one expected. It wasn't just white rural voters supporting Trump this time. Black voters, Latino voters, young people. Voters from all over the country helped flip the map. Nearly 90% of counties turned red. The country didn't just lean to the right. It ran there, but still, the media didn't want to admit it. The panel looked shocked. Some tried to change the subject. Others got emotional. But he kept bringing it back to the one thing they couldn't fight. Facts. He said it loud and clear. I'm not a Trump fan, but I'm a fan of the truth. Boom. And the truth? Millions of people, including those from areas that used to vote Democrat, walked away. He called it what it was, a political earthquake, a shift so big, the media was scared to talk about it.
I'm a supporter of truth and the facts, and here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the...
On live TV, he said what many people feel but are afraid to say. The room's energy changed instantly. Then came the line that shook everyone. The Democratic Party has nothing to offer black men. Nothing. Silence followed. No fake smiles, just awkward looks and tense shifting. He wasn't saying it for drama. He meant every word. He spoke from real experience, calling out a party that, in his view, has forgotten the very people who helped build it, especially black men, now feeling ignored and taken for granted. We're tired, he said, of being told to obey without asking questions.
As it just went down.
I was surprised at how lopsided it was. I was not surprised by the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the outcome coming from a mile away. You have to take into account, listen, we respect our president, Joe Biden, but here's the reality. He got into office. He promised to be a transitional president, to be a stopgap to pave the way for somebody else to come on board. Into the midterms, it was supposed to be a red wave. It did not happen.
Trump's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever. And he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why.
This time, he made it personal. He said, if you're a black man in America today, no one's really speaking to you unless you repeat the script. That hit hard. Then he dropped the facts. Trump won every swing state and gained more support from black, Latino, and young voters than expected. Nearly 90% of U.S. counties turned red. While the media called it close, he called it what it was, a landslide. One host tried to spin it with vote percentages, but he shut it down. It's not about numbers, he said. It's about momentum. People want real change.
Things later on. That's always been his MO, and that's what we've seen.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to what you said about black men being very comfortable with matriarchy. And I agree with that because, you know, black households are often led by a grandmother, black grandmother or black mother. However, 55% of Latino men voted for Trump. Why do you think that happened?
Well, I think that economically, they were looking at things. First of all, you've got, in this country, you've got Cubans, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Guatemalans, Venezuelans, Colombians, et cetera, et cetera. And if you talk to the Hispanic community, depending on who you're talking to, they think differently. The Cubans think differently than the Dominicans. The Dominicans think different than Colombians.
While the host tried to spin the numbers, he stayed calm and clear. The media downplayed the results on purpose, he said, because admitting the truth meant admitting they missed a shift. Then he dropped something unexpected, matriarchy in black communities. He spoke honestly, saying many black men are raised by strong women, and that shapes how they view power. That's why many now lean toward bold, strong leaders. When asked why 55% of Latino men voted for Trump, he didn't flinch. His answer? Economics. Jobs, rent, groceries. Latinos vote for results, not just identity. And that truth caught them off guard.
Way back in 2016, before Trump ran for president, you were friendly with him because he's really into sports. And you said that the fact that he's a sports guy, which I didn't realize because I don't think of sports when I look at him, but I'm not even being snarky. I just don't think of a sports guy.
What about riding around
You
on
on
a golf court? Doesn't that count?
Right. But you, on the other hand, I get, you said that being a sports guy helped him.
Well,
what did you mean by that?
Because what happened is that a lot of African Americans, Latinos, and others, we associated ourselves with him because he would host fights at Trump casinos. He would show up at basketball.
Then he dropped a line that shut all down. It's the economy. While politicians argue about culture wars, regular people are just trying to pay rent and keep the lights on. Voters aren't after perfection. They want someone who'll fight for them. Silence followed. Then a host tried to lighten the mood with a comment about Trump and sports, but backfired. He explained that Trump was known in black and Latino communities before politics, as a public figure who showed up. That mattered. And then he dropped the real truth. This isn't just about Trump. It's a rejection of Democrats.
It's not about what it says about the Republican Party. It's about what it says about the Democratic Party.
Why?
Because in the end, if you think about him being impeached twice, 34 felony counts or 34 felony convictions, and they still elected him president, it's not about him winning. It was an indictment against the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party was offering to American citizens. We might sit up there and talk about, hey, you should be a party for the working class, which the Democratic Party was once known for. They're not known for that right now. Why? Because their message was catering towards others and towards other issues, and they forgot about the people that brought them there, that elevated the Democratic Party to what it was.
The room was tense, but the truth was out. He calmly said the Democratic Party used to fight for working people, but not anymore. Now, they chase clout on social media and ignore the very communities that elected them. Black and Latino voters are tired of empty speeches and wins that don't change their lives. Then came the twist. The media isn't scared of him. They're scared of what he represents. He was extreme, just honest, logical, and grounded. That's what threatens the system. He didn't yell. He exposed the game. And finally, he said it. Trump didn't just win. He crushed it.
Virtue of Stephen A. Okay. And I don't mean to canonize this guy. And I'm afraid because I know what happens when somebody's getting elevated, there's now a price on you to bring you down. And I don't want to see that for him. So that's why I'm shy on this. But he is also a reminder that reasonable should be a commodity. It should be a commodity. The fact that, you got to be full on MAGA or you got to want to kill Trump.
Yeah, about politics. And you said that you were not shocked that Trump won, but you were stunned that it was a landslide. Why do you think most people didn't see it coming?
Because the pollsters told us, and we believed them, that it was going to be a tight race. They were in panic mode. And the reason why so many people were in panic mode was because the tighter the race, the more chaos presumably would ensue, because he would automatically say it was rigged. He would challenge the outcome of the election. We all knew this. And as a result, folks were fearful that it was going to be a replica of.
He said the only reason people didn't see Trump's win coming was because they chose not to. The media, pollsters, even voters bought into the tight race story to avoid panic. But the truth? It wasn't close. Then he called out lazy generalizations, saying, "Black men don't talk about women like that," when Howard Stern blamed all men for sexism. The energy shifted. He even joked about running for president, not for fame, but because he believed he could speak the truth. And the biggest truth? Many Black and Latino voters didn't vote for Trump out of love. They did it out of survival.
He wasn't confident that the country was ready to elect the first female president because he knows, quote, how men talk behind closed doors about us. So we're very privileged to have a great guy here today.
Yeah.
Tell him, what do men say about us behind closed doors?
First of all,
Yeah. Say it to our faces.
Yeah, do tell.
I don't hide, so no worries there. Here's the deal. I respectfully disagree with Howard Stern, only from the standpoint that I wish he had been more specific. Why don't you say white men? Because let me tell you something about Black men. I must confess, I wish I could debate some of these guys. I'd love to be on a debate stage going up against these guys with the presidency on the line.
We will arrange that.
I'm half joking, but I kind of mean it. I mean, I have no desire to be a congressional figure or a senator. But if you came to me and you told me I had a legitimate shot to win the presidency of the United States of America, I would definitely consider it. But here's the problem.
So you want to break through the line?
He stunned the panel with one line. Minority voters didn't betray their communities. They just stopped letting the media think for them. He said support for Trump wasn't shocking. It was a result of years of being ignored. The media, he claimed, pushes fake balance to avoid panic, while real issues like rent jobs and safety go untouched. He didn't offend Trump. He exposed why people chose him. It wasn't love. It was survival. Then he went deeper. The border crisis, ignored struggles, and how the media twists stories to protect their own narrative. Voters, he said, are tired of empty talk and fake empathy. They don't want hashtags. They want change. His message wasn't loud. It was honest. He warned, if politicians and the media don't start listening, they'll keep losing. Then he challenged viewers directly. Wake up, ask better questions, stop trusting headlines. Because real change doesn't start with parties. It starts with truth.